Hey, what's going on, gamers? Welcome to another wonderful, beautiful spring day. Hopefully, it's spring by you, anyways. So, this is podcast number, what is this, boys? 13, 14?
15, I believe.
15. I am terrible with freaking counting. All right, so welcome to podcast number 15. So far, so good. People are enjoying our podcast without seeing our faces. I think we're adorable, though, so maybe we'll see about going back to that. As always, we're all together with Eric, Matt. Unfortunately, Ryan isn't here because he doesn't like us very much, so he's not going to be here today. But went around, I found some interesting talking points. Matt and Eric somehow have some things to talk about as well. Now, I kind of wanted to start it off with this, right? So E3 last year, a lot of awesome news, a lot of not so awesome news. One of my favorite things that came out of E3 was the trailer for Halo Infinite. It was short, but it was detailed enough to have me just rewatch it at least 1,000 times to have that image of Halo of Master Chief just standing there. So I'm excited for this game. I don't know about you guys. I know Matt's actually probably just as excited, if not a little more excited than I am, about Halo Infinite. But so here's the thing. So something interesting that I got here from digitaltrends.com. So apparently the German site called Xbox Dynasty, it's stating that Halo Infinite's budget is going to be more than $500 million.
That's nothing,
Holy
man.
shit.
Well, but you gotta think.
No, this is going to be the most expensive game ever made.
Because they're developing a fully fledged game engine for it.
I did not. I didn't know they were switching game engines.
Yeah, it's the new game engine is on the I think it's on the Infinite engine or some other kind of
interesting.
I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Halo.
That would make sense because they said they're going back down to their roots, and they can't do that if they're working off of the Halo 5 engine.
Yeah, it's definitely not on the Halo 5 engine. I think they're it's the Slip Space engine was what they're calling it.
Interesting.
That's
do you know what engine they were using before?
I don't know what Halo 5 was using. I gotta check it out. But from they said that in the reveal trailer, the teaser trailer, and it's interesting that that's why it's been taking so long to introduce. I know from when they were doing their Inside Xbox a couple of weeks ago, they were saying that that Halo Infinite will be at E3 this year with gameplays.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, I'm reading about it now. Yeah, it says game director Chris Lee will reveal more details about it at E3 2019. So they're also saying that it's going to be a spiritual reboot. I wonder what the hell that means.
They're just gonna dump everything Halo 5 did. That's what I'm assuming. They're gonna try and win back the masses here.
So they're probably going back to that original combat evolved
Halo 2, Halo 3.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if they cram everything from Halo 2, Halo 3, and cram it all into one goddamn big, huge game.
So my thing with that is that I just want to play as the fucking... That's it. I don't want to play as anybody else. I don't want to play as the Arbiter. I don't want to play as the fucking...
I like the Arbiter missions in Halo 2. Those are my favorite.
I really don't like them.
It was a good change of pace.
It was especially important because the whole thing about the Covenant versus the Elites now, you got to experience that firsthand.
Yeah, and then the Elites and everybody came to play a big part against the Prophets with the Brutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense.
Extremely representative of the story that was happening.
No, without a doubt, I would say integral to the storyline, I get it. That's understandable. Just me personally, I don't want to play as the Arbiter. I want to play as a Chief. I want to just go fucking cracking skulls as a Chief. That's just me. But you're right. The storyline needed to be told that way. I'm a little bitch, and I wanted to play as a Chief. That's it.
Understandable. I understand. See, the weird thing is, like, Halo 5 came around and everybody was bitching about how you have to play as Locke, but no one really complained about playing as Arbiter, at least not that I remember.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I didn't like playing
I
as
know you
Locke
weren't a big
either.
fan, but like when you weren't playing as Chief, people this time around were like deadly angry. I don't think it was like that when Halo 2 came out.
The reasoning why is because when you got to play as an elite, it was totally different. Because especially when you played multiplayer, you could either play as an elite or a Spartan. That was the two things. So it was a good change of pace.
It was also the first time it was done.
Yeah, exactly. It was in Halo 2. But also the same thing, when you play it as Locke, it focused around his fire team instead of
God, I hated that
fire team.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Chief versus Locke, and then obviously we knew there was some reasoning why the two Spartan teams were up against each other, and then obviously you progress through the story, you find out, spoilers, they worked together at one point.
Oh my god!
But I think I don't know. I feel like Halo is Halo. It will always be Halo. To me, Halo is the pinnacle of first-person shooters. It will always be that, and it's just it has a different pedigree. It's like if people think that Call of Duty is better than Halo, you're fucking wrong.
Okay. They're not the same game, though. That's the problem.
You're right. They aren't the same game, but I feel like Call of Duty, if they were to stick to their modern warfare roots, it would be fine. I would be totally.
I don't know about that.
But the fact of the matter that they keep pushing towards these sci-fi kind of weapons, they're trying to emulate Halo with non-Halo stuff, and it's stupid to me.
I just want to interject really quickly, though. I liked Locke's fire team only because Nathan Fillion was the voice and likeness of one of the guys, and that's basically my favorite character other than Master Chief. Continue.
Well, he was also one of the other.
Everybody loves Buck, boy.
Yeah.
Halo 3 ODST.
Yeah.
That was an underrated game, but I love that
big
game.
Time.
Oh yeah, I started playing that a few years ago, but I have such freaking video game ADD, I forgot to finish it.
Because that game wasn't like your typical Halo thing, where it wasn't linear. Where you have a story, you have to follow each story. You actually had to go to each one, and it was through a main hub.
Yeah, the storytelling in that game was really interesting. People don't really look back on it fondly, I don't think. Well, maybe now.
Not a lot. Now they do.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, now all of the Halo games are in one collection with the Master Chief collection, especially when Reach is coming to it.
So excited.
Yeah, Reach is
coming on PC.
I hope it's free if you own it.
Well, I know for us, like on Xbox, for anybody who has Xbox, it's not free.
Oh.
But if you have the Game Pass, it's free.
I mean, I'd buy the Game Pass for it.
Yeah. So, I'm excited for Reach.
I wish they just saw that you had it and let you play it for a certain amount of time or something.
Yeah.
I wish.
But they're using it as a DLC.
Money.
I think that's a wrong move. I think if you own the Master Chief collection, you should give it to me. Especially how shitty the Master Chief, especially with multiplayer and everything, how bad it was in the beginning.
I mean, it's going back to games as a service at this point, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, they have been updating it a lot, and I know it's way better now.
Oh yeah, it's way better.
They added 2 games, ODST and Halo. No, they only added ODST, right?
Yeah, they only added ODST, but they improved everything, like the matchmaking and everything. But they've added, I think, all the multiplayer maps from 5. No, I'm sorry, from all of them, and also ODST and
Combat Evolved's multiplayer was actually Combat Evolved this time.
Yeah.
Not
Thank
like when
God.
they did it with Reach.
Blood
They
Gulch.
used the Reach multiplayer for the what was it, the 10-year edition?
Yeah.
God,
You
that was such a
remember-
letdown.
AJ, you remember when we used to go to that guy's basement and play? On
Mike.
LAN?
Yeah, my sister's ex-boyfriend.
Let's
Oh
go,
my God.
Mike.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was all right back in the day, but then I wanted to kill him for years afterwards because he just broke my sister's heart. I don't know why. I was a dick. I think I threw a lot of unnecessary shade and hatred that guy's way. But Matt and I would with a couple of couple of our other buddies, and we'd have LAN parties like Matt was saying. Like we'd be on two different TVs, and he would just dominate. We would be with like I think what was it, Matt? Like 8 people, 10 people in total, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But on the original Halo, and even then, when Halo 2, we still did the LAN parties.
Yeah,
but it was so much fun because it was the best part. It was always around your birthday when we did it, so we'd be up till like whatever, and me and our buddy Hanson would sit there and just like snipe everybody from. And I just remember Hanson every single time. God damn you, soccer mom! That was Mike's gamer tag or something like that.
Oh my god, dude! I haven't heard that gamer tag in years. That's so fucking funny. Soccer. That's right.
Yeah, it was like soccer mom or something like that, and he would just piss people off. Oh god, so fun.
I gotta go back to LAN parties.
I think you still can do them technically. Any Xbox product.
I mean, you're not wrong, yeah. But then I think everybody's become a little bit on the more lazier side because everyone's like, well, why do I want to do a LAN party when I can just play online at my house?
Such a pain in the butt, though, to get set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. But I mean, back in the day, we didn't really have online like we have now. Like fucking speaking like the old grandpa gamer I am. So, back in my day, we had LAN parties.
Yeah, but remember when we had to bring over a TV?
Jesus, that was a fucking pain in the ass. Oh my god, dude, you have a steel trap memory.
Well, because it was me, you, Hanson, and the three of us are not short people. In your probe with a TV, and that took over more than half the back seat. And I always got stuck in the back seat. I was like, motherfucker.
Oh my god. As soon as you just said that, I do remember fucking stacking that thing in there. Oh my god.
And for people who don't know, a Ford Probe, especially AJ's Ford Probe, was a coupe, which only had 2 doors. How did we fit a tube TV in there? I have no idea. But we did it.
Willpower. There you go. Gamer determination.
Gamer determination.
Real
and then
gamer guts.
And then we hauled it back to AJ's house at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, man. Yeah, those were the days.
It was so funny.
Were you there when we would play? I don't know if it was a LAN party, but it was just really more multiplayer. And this is going back with Omar. I think this is like the first and only time that we played like online games with him over at Hanson's house. And somebody's name was Cookie. It was one of those randomly generated names. Somebody's name was Cookie, and he just started screaming, "Cookie!" Just freaking just started going
there for that one.
It was fun. Weird. Fun. I thought I was going to die, but it was fun.
That's funny.
Oh, man. But yes, I mean, I'm hoping that they kind of wrap up the story decently, especially because of the way that they set it up. I don't know. I thought the story was okay. The storyline in 4, I think, was pushing it, but it had my attention enough where, like, okay, I can work with this. Then finally, I was like, all right, you're doing what? And we're focusing on Locke and not the Chief. And then Cortana's a psycho, and now she's going to... What the hell's going on here?
Because the shelf life of the AI in the Halo universe is only 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Cortana's pushing 14.
Right.
So she's deteriorating.
Oh no, I get the scope of the story. That's why I'm like on a bridge. I was really more upset that it focused a lot more on Locke's team than it really should have, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, like, what do you think, Eric?
I think, all right. I think that these 3, I'm assuming that Halo 6 is going to focus more on the Forerunner saga. I personally hate Forerunner saga. I just hate them as enemies. I don't know why. They're just not fun to fight. Their guns aren't very... I mean, they look cool, but they're not very interesting to use. I hate them in multiplayer. And then, story-wise, it makes sense. I mean, the Spartans that were missing, like Fred and all of old Spartan 2s that were missing, it kind of makes sense that they show up again because they were in the lore, they were still alive. They were just on planets that no one knew about. So it all makes sense that they're bringing it back. I'm just hoping they take a step back, and once we all understand that they're there, they kind of just like, you know, they're like, okay, they're there now, and they'll be parts of the story, just like the Arbiter was in the last game. He wasn't even in it as far as playability. You know, he was just a big part of the storyline when you go to St. Helios. But the other thing too is I also hate the redesign. The redesign from Halo 4 of the elites and all of the it just looks super ugly and just doesn't look very nice. And
well, you got to also realize too, between Halo 3 and Halo 4, they switched over. It wasn't Bungie anymore. It switched over to 343.
Yeah, but they were part of Bungie. Bungie split. 343 was still part of a Bungie team.
Yes, but what they did, 343 was originally fully comprised of just Halo fans. So some people from Bungie, but a majority of just fans that just wanted to put their community apart.
Yeah, but they were still part of Bungie at the time.
Yes, but what I'm saying is they, like, the last game that Bungie worked on was Reach. That was the last game. So everything after Reach, which is 4 and 5, they're different games. Obviously, they're going to be a different engine than Bungie used, because Bungie still uses that same engine. If I remember correctly, they use it for Destiny.
Fuck Destiny.
Right, but but you know, but if they have like the license for the IP, right, and then Bungie says, "Here, go, you know, ape shit. We're focusing more on Destiny."
Well, Microsoft had it.
Microsoft had it. So when Bungie did not want to work with Microsoft anymore, they split, and then some of the people that worked for Bungie was like, "Hey, listen, we still want to work on Halo. We haven't finished our stories." They made up a new place, which was 343 Industries.
Okay.
Well, 343 was still a like they were part of Bungie, I think, when Reach was coming out. Like 343 Industries was still there. They still developed the games with Bungie. They just worked under Bungie. And then people from Bungie, the ones that didn't go to Destiny and move on, stayed with 343. But like the vision, like the path from Halo Reach off from 4 and 5 is just so different. And I get it. It's because you had to get a different kind of sense with the Forerunner saga. But it's just like so off-putting to people that were Halo 3 fans. It just like was such a... Even people were getting mad at Reach. And Reach wasn't even that far off of the Halo 3, you know.
No, not at all. I think it's just a few minor tweaks, in my opinion. Just like, you know, how you can get the different add-ons, and now you can run, you can do this.
Yeah, I think it was the armor abilities people hated, which I actually thought put another little level of counterplay in the game.
Oh, yeah, like the bubble armor?
Yeah, the bubble armor and the what's it called? It was the armor you'd punch the ground, you become invincible, and then you would do an EMP on release, so you could run, you could do all these things, so you could have a specific play style, but it still had this arena shooter feel.
Gotcha.
And then Halo 4 and 5 came out, and you were able to make your own class, and it's like that ruins the whole multiplayer aspect of the game. Because everybody starts with either a BR or an assault rifle or a pistol, depending on what you're playing. Then you know where the spawns are on the map. You go pick them up. Everybody has a fair gameplay right there. And then when you go to Halo 5 and you can pick whatever gun you want, it's like, okay. You kind of just threw out all of Halo 3's base gameplay values.
So, sorry, I'm just doing a little research on the 343 and Bungie thing. Bungie split from Microsoft in 2007.
Which was Halo 3.
Yes, which was
Halo 3 came out a year before, I think.
No, Halo 3 came out on September 25th. Bungie actually became a separate company. Bungie became its own independent company in October 1st. So it was literally a couple weeks after Halo 3 was released.
So it was contractual, I'm assuming.
Yeah. but they still put out Reach, which was in 2010. Now, the 343 was Microsoft's version of Bungie. So they worked in partner with Bungie. It wasn't like they weren't a part of Bungie. They worked with Bungie to help. They were Microsoft's like kind of Bungie area thing.
So it was like their median point.
Yeah, it was their median point. It was like this is a company that will take over.
Wasn't the lead design though the person that was in Bungie? I forget his name. Was it? It wasn't Phil Spencer.
No,
I forgot his name.
I'm not seeing anything.
But I thought he jumped to 343 to make sure everybody was on the same track, and he was like a big CEO kind of CE, some chief position, I think, like lead design director or something. I forgot his name.
Ryan something.
Seacrest.
Ryan Seacrest. Yep.
Right. I knew it. The dude's multi-talented.
Joseph Staten. That's what came up on first look, but either way, I think another big problem that Halo 5 had was that you have these newer Spartan 5s. I think they were Spartan 5s.
Yes.
So there's Spartan 2s, Spartan 3s, which didn't work. Spartan 4s were the ones in Halo 4. No, Spartan 4s was the person you played in Reach was a Spartan 4. Right?
No, I think Spartan 4, wasn't that what you were in 3?
No, Spartan 2s are Master Chief and all of his squad. Those are Spartan 2s, I know that.
Yeah.
Spartan 3s I thought didn't exist. Or they were in Reach and they all died.
They were black. No, because, yeah, I think you're right.
So Spartan 3s were what you played in Reach. You were the noble rookie. Then Spartan 4s are the ones that, Spartan 4s are the ones that you play in Halo 5. Like that new age of Spartans where anybody can just be a Spartan.
Yeah, it takes ODST, whatever.
Yeah, and the problem that people had was when you're playing Locke, you die just as fast as Chief did, which is just, like, it's illogical as far as the lore goes. And I'm sure the diehard fans were just like, no, this isn't right. Yeah, and then Locke and Chief fight at one point, and they're, like, going blow for blow, which is just not going to happen with a Spartan 2. Because they're literally, like, meat sacks of death. They're, like, literally... They had surgeries when they were children, and like their brains are altered to just be murder machines.
Yeah, they can pretty much effectively kill anything.
Yes,
out the armor,
and they're just deadly.
Exactly.
And then if you have this new character that not a lot of people are into, going blow for blow with their favorite character that they've been playing as since 2001. No,
I get it.
It's just like if Doom guy, right? You're playing the new Doom, and then he's got this new counter, like anti-hero that also wants the same thing he does, but beats him up. It's like, all right, that's not. What is happening?
Doom guy point.
I just want to shoot the big bad boys.
Exactly, and then you have another jerk off who looks like you and is almost as cool as you.
Yeah, ODST and Reach, they completely separated it in a way from Halo's main, Master Chief's storyline.
Right.
So they made sense because, like, Halo Reach, most of them were Spartan 2s, I think. All of them except for June was Spartan 2, I think. And then you come in as a Spartan 3, and, like, you obviously aren't as good as they are. But, it makes sense at the point. And then you go into Halo 5, and you're just, like, a murder machine, just like Master Chief is. It's not realistic. Right. As far as the lore goes. Obviously, they're not going to make you, not powerful, because the gameplay wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I get the two stories had to be told, but I don't know. They could have made a different game, maybe. Like an ODST
maybe they might nerf them.
Game. Well, no, what Eric's saying is that in the game, the Chief should have destroyed Locke.
Oh, Locke should have been dead. Easy.
I know what he's saying. I'm just saying, in 6... They might nerf them. They might just come up with. We don't know.
I'm assuming what Styx is gonna be is Chief's gonna. At the end of Halo 5, Chief comes back, right? Or is that 4? I don't remember.
No, 5.
Yeah, 5. He comes back and then he talks to the commander of the ship. I forgot his name. That whole story was just a big mess. I couldn't follow any of it, but I have to replay it maybe. But he comes back to the ship and everything's great and hunky dory. I'm assuming that he's gonna go after Cortana, and he's gonna be on a solo mission again. I don't think there's gonna be any.
No, I don't think it's gonna be a solo mission because I think they're gonna go around as probably teamwork, kind of like every other game. So that's why they did it in 5, because it was 4-person co-op. So instead of you having,
who plays co-op anymore? Let's be real.
Fuck you. I like co-op.
You could like co-op, but who plays it?
I
mean, co-op on a. Yeah, I mean, I can play it. I don't know, but when it's story-driven game like Halo, I'd rather play it myself.
I beat Halo. What I beat? I beat Halo Reach 4 and 5 solo legendary.
Well, I love Halo. To me, will always be co-op, sitting on the couch next to somebody playing a game, because for me, Halo is it's a great game for that. Like, yeah, you're trying to story. Play the story on easy if you want to follow the story. If you want a challenge or a good time, you put it on hard, put on the skulls, have a blast playing the story.
I mean, listen, I'm with you on that, but my thing is, if it's a good story and it's about my favorite character, Master Chief, I don't want to talk to anybody who's next to me while I'm trying to pay attention to the story.
Definitely not.
Well, but that's why you always play through the story first.
Well, that was actually what I was going to be getting to. So yeah, I mean, I the storyline first, and then I'll go over to your house, or me and Eric, we all meet up together for a couple beers and we come by. Whatever. Yeah, and put it on Legendary and see where the chips may fall. That to me, that I'll agree with you on. But initially, no, I put it on normal. I want to go enjoy my time. I want to find out how the story unravels. I don't want to have to be forced to talk to somebody who's next to me. Not that I wouldn't enjoy their company, but it's just I want to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is in the first Halo, when you played with another person, which was just regular 2-person co-op, you were just another clone of the Master Chief. In 5, when it was 1-person co-op, you take control of Linda or Locke or whoever you want in that group, which was really cool, and your character had an identity.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always play with 4 people. If you wanted to play with 2, you can play with 2. If you want to play with 3, you can play with 3. But it was meant to play with people, which I still think is one of the coolest features.
I don't like playing with people though. I like soloing the story, regardless.
I'm not good at games.
I don't care if you're good at games or not, right? You just play easy. But the clunkiness of those freaking AIs that were forced in the game was just so obnoxious. And then you got down and you had to hope that they pick you up because they didn't actually work half the time. It was such a clunky mess.
That's why you play with somebody else.
Yeah, but I don't want to. The single player is called single player.
That's fine.
But then why did the single player force me to play with 3 AIs that I didn't like?
Well, that's...
Like, in Halo 3, if you want to play single player, it's just you as Chief. And then if you want 3 other people, it's 3 clones of Chief. I don't care. That's not going to ruin my... I obviously am not worried about the story when I'm playing with 3 other people. That's not going to pull me out of the game. But then Halo Reach even, you were 3 other Spartan 3s.
Yeah.
You didn't take control of Fred or Emil. You were 3 other Spartan 3s. They were still there. It was just like, I know they made it so you played with 4 people, but like it kind of ruined it for me, the single player. It was a real pain in the ass.
I don't know, and that has actually, I would say that I like that particular way of doing it because you were obviously everyone who's a fan of the Halo series already knew going into it what the end is going to be. I thought that telling it from different perspectives of how they did their best to try to fight against it, I thought it was interesting.
I got another argument for the multiplayer in a way, or the co-op. They have 3 modes, right? They have multiplayer, the single player / co-op campaign, and then now they have 4 modes. They had like this meta game mode where you were playing as a Spartan 4 and you were sent on missions. That would be the one I'd argue to go play with 4 people that you know. and play that, so you could focus more on doing waves and killing things and not worrying about the story.
Yeah, which is kind of like horde mode.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about ADST too, and Reach even. Reach had a horde mode people don't really know about. They had like a wave-based mode. But
yeah,
it's just that they forced it into the single player when they had these 3 other modes that are multiplayer based. So why do they make every single thing a multiplayer mode? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, because that's the thing, especially with online, you want to play with friends. You want to give that option. Like,
I mean, you can still play with friends. You just wouldn't take control of these 3 other beings that just don't have a brain unless somebody's actually playing as them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's interesting. I mean, I'm all for, like, put a multiplayer in. I'm cool with that. If you want to play I will agree with you. The AI, especially in that game. Listen, if you're playing single player, you die, you respawn. Just let me respawn. I don't care. Like you could probably say the same thing for like the Division 2. It's a great game, but there are points when you're trying to play by yourself and you get downed. You have to wait. Either you can call for help or you can just...
I don't think there was an easy way out kind of option either. I think you were forced to wait until you either died or they picked you up.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I don't remember though.
I'm pretty sure you were able to just die right away. Instead of sitting there.
The other problem I had with it too is that you remember those mini boss Forerunner things that were just so hard to kill? They were like this big tanky enemy that would one-shot you.
Yep.
That was made for 4 people. That was not made for single player because the 3 AIs were obviously if they killed everything in one shot, it's not going to be fun for the person playing. But if you had 4 people in the game that were not AI, that thing would die so fast, even on Legendary. But when you're solo, it's like you have to do 99% of the damage. That's why it's just forcing me to play 4-player when I don't want to. That's what I hated about it.
That's a good point, and I think that actually is a good way to go to the next point. But I want to finish off with this really quickly before we go into the next one because you're going to be the expert on what we're going to talk about next.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you on that. It should be, of course, calculated appropriately to having one person. Give them the difficulty that should be for only one person, not that you have to have a mini fire team with you or whatever to make sure that you can actually complete your freaking objective. Matt, thoughts?
I mean, it's Halo. It's always going to be hard, especially when you have it on.
It's just not fun on Legendary. That's what it was. Like, even Halo 4 was
not supposed to be fun on Legendary.
Halo 4 was one of the most difficult Legendary Halos, I think. And I had way more fun playing Halo 4 on Legendary than I did on Halo 5 just because I was getting unrelentingly mad at the AI that they forced me to have. I hated it. But, the whole thing is that single-player co-op, that should be made expecting people to play solo first and then adding other people later. Whether or not it gets harder if you add 4 people, they have a higher hit count or whatever. I don't care. But they shouldn't think about having multiplayer first and the single player and then having single player as a second thought.
Well, you kind of want the thing of like Johnson in the first game where you could just pump shit ton of rounds into him and he doesn't die.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think adding health to an enemy makes the game fun. I know it makes it a little bit harder, but that's not a good game design as far as, it's like, hey, you're at level 2. It's the same enemy you just fought, but they got more health. Isn't that fun? It's like, no, I don't. Why would I want that? And then at the end of the day, when you're doing first-person shooters, for the most part, they hit you with a hit scan, you hit them with a hit scan. That's not super fun. So then you have these guns that the Covenant had, was like the plasma grenade launcher and all these slow things that you could dodge, which was the great game design. Because you have these hit scan weapons that hit them in one hit and kill them for the most part, like a sniper, or the assault rifle takes a couple hits, but you instantly hit them. Versus they have these things that have travel time that allows you to dodge and actually pretend like you're stronger than them, even though you guys might be on the same level.
Yeah.
And then you have, games like I don't know if the Division has anything that you can necessarily dodge. But from what I'm hearing people play it, it's like they just get bullet spongy and then they walk towards you in late game and then they just kill you in one shot. And it's like, okay, is that fun? Really I don't know. Maybe it's fun to some people, but that doesn't sound like good game design or really fun to me.
I would say that part actually does agitate me. I'm in cover. I got this one guy who's literally slowly walking up to me in a freaking baseball. Exactly. And I'm shooting him in the head. And I was like, okay, listen, you're not even backing off. You're not even slowing down. And you're still coming up to me. And then I have little tiny sliver of health left. You should have been dead. And then I'm dead. And then they don't even shoot me. They just bop me upside the head.
But you also got to realize, in 2, every character, especially the elites, they all have armor. And if you break off the shield system, if you break off specific parts of their shield, the weak points, then they just get destroyed.
Are you talking about elites or the brutes?
You know, the elites,
because the brutes, if you shot their head, they didn't have shields. So if you shot their, this was reach.
No, I'm talking in I'm not talking about Halo. I'm talking about Division.
Oh, I thought you said Halo. Sorry.
Well, because they're called the elite soldiers.
Oh, okay, my bad. I got mixed up.
It's okay. But in that game, like what AJ's saying, that he's firing this guy in the head. Well, you probably because you already shot off the armor. But if you shoot off his head, then his shoulder, then his chest piece, then this, methodically aiming at those different pieces, you're gonna break. Yeah, that's
that's not the guy I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about the berserkers, like the little tiny thin bastards who come at you.
Oh yeah,
you're hitting them literally like with a dozen shots, and they're not fucking dying. They don't have much armor, but I know the ones that you're talking about. That's not the one I'm talking about.
See, that seems more exciting to play against, though. Even if it is still just you shooting at a bullet sponge, at least you have this little meta game of aiming at the specific spots of armor.
Yeah.
Versus this guy that walks up to you and just eats bullets for days and then just agitates you because it's not exciting. It's just that you have to wait longer.
Yeah, but I mean, in Halo, in the Division, you have to use your different gadgets, your different things. Make sure everyone has a different gadget. Like I have heals. AJ's got attacking. AJ's got the long range. I'm the short range. I'm the one who has more crit. That kind of shit. That's why I like the Division. There's so many other.
But what if you want to play by yourself?
If I want to play by myself, I don't play the main missions. I play a lot of the side missions that I can complete with one thing. If I want to play with AJ, we can still do the regular missions and understand the story. But if I want more of a challenge, I can go into a level of the area that is 3 levels higher than. But if I go in there by myself, I'm going to get destroyed in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. But can you outplay them, or are you just going to get destroyed regardless of what you do?
It doesn't matter. Like, if you're a couple levels below it, like we got destroyed one time. We walked into this one area, and the enemies didn't even have levels above their head. It just had a giant question mark.
Uh-oh.
We fired at them. And we're like, you know what? Let's see. Maybe we can do some damage. Shit. They come over, barely hit us with one like little pistol, and we were fucking already on the ground dead.
Yeah. I was like, Matt, can you heal me? Oh, you're dead. I'm dead too. Okay, so that was an awesome conversation. I like that. So just want to move along though to our next one. Otherwise, we're going to make the whole entire thing about Halo, which actually isn't really so much a bad thing.
I mean, we're 38 minutes in, and it was mostly Halo, and I'm totally okay with that.
I'm content with it. But I wanted to go to one more thing because even if we get two topics in, I'll be a happy camper. So this will be in your wheelhouse, and it's also going to be piggybacking off of
the thing you brought up on Twitter too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look at his Twitter. I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
So so for the people who don't know, so obviously Sekiro has come out. Our boy Eric here has been at least a dozen times, and I don't know if he likes it or not. He says he does. I don't know. Jury's out on that game.
I like it. It's a great game. It's one of the best games.
See, there you go. And it does look like an awesome game. I might pick it up.
I don't know if you'd like it.
I don't know if I would either. Probably not.
You can borrow it. I have it.
You really have to spend a lot of time in that game.
Yeah, no. I'm kind of like also in the middle of trying to redo Breath of the Wild too. That's taking up my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I know. So for those who don't know, the whole entire thing of what I'm bringing up here is going to be basically about From Software and their video games, right? So they're basically known as the company to bring games that are going to basically kick your ass. So the conversation here that's been for a little bit is, should they lower or put an easy mode in Sekiro, right, to make it more of like, quote unquote inclusive for all gamers? I personally, I would say no. If you enjoy that type of game, have it be set on the side. But that's my opinion. I want to hear what you think.
So the most important thing about FromSoft games is that they have a very deep lore that is not necessarily shoved in your face. Sekiro kind of stands out a little bit because they do kind of shove it in your face a little bit through dialogue, because your character actually talks. Cool. You have an actual solid character. You're not just filling the role of the silent protagonist or whatever you want to play as. So it's a little different than normal. Like in Dark Souls 3, you're just this guy, whether you want to do sorcery or you want to do pyromancy or whatever. But in Sekiro, you are this shinobi fighting for the divine heir. You are this character, and you can't do anything to stray away from it. Now, the thing about Dark Souls and FromSoft games in general, the difficulty is what you typically make it. So Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, you all have these builds that you can build towards. If you want to do the busted build, it makes the game almost, playable for almost anybody. Then you just look them up, you take that build, you do that, make the bosses 10 times easier. Versus you have these other people that stream on Twitch, like Lobos Jr., I'm trying to think of other ones that do, like FarazKhan, Dis2, Squilla Killer. They all take the games and they say, okay, that game was all right. Now let's not get hit or not take damage or do a run where I don't heal at all. They do these things that makes the game inherently more difficult. But then from that will come either glitches or cheesing is another term that people use. So like when you go against a boss, some bosses are not, I wouldn't say spaghetti code, but there's things that they know are in the game that can be broken. Like the Capra Demon in Dark Souls 1, you don't even have to fight it. You just look at a specific point and you throw firebombs over 100 times and then it'll just die. So if you really can't get past Capra Demon, you could look that strat up and do it. And no one will look at you and be like, wow, you can be Capra Demon. But now you have these journalists, specifically one from PC Games, I forget his name, but he was said, I tweeted about it. He said, I beat Sekiro with hacks or mods installed, and I'm not ashamed about it. So the thing with Sekiro is a lot of the gameplay has to do with timing deflects and learning boss patterns to counter them and do damage to them. So they have a system where you can deflect oncoming damage completely as long as you deflect at a perfect time. Kind of like Gears of War, where if you did a perfect reload, you were rewarded with a reload that was twice as fast about.
Right, I love that aspect, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a little metagame you play as you're playing the game, and it makes you feel good, or if you mess up, you get punished for it. I like that. I like that idea. It's better than just watching an animation that's 2.3 seconds every time.
Right.
So in Sekiro, you have three things. You have stance, you have an attack, and you have a deflect. So since everybody's the same character, it makes it so that they could focus on this one gameplay aspect that they really wanted to focus on, which actually paid off tremendously. So they force you onto one thing instead of giving you all this freedom that all the other FromSoft games have, to make sure that you had this very impressive gameplay combat system. So you have an attack, which is normal. You just press R1. You also have the shinobi tools, which lets you have like a shuriken, or you can throw fire, or you can deflect attacks from the top. And then you have another one that lets you just completely dodge an attack. And then you have a deflect, which is just left bumper. So if an oncoming attack is coming at you, you press it at a specific time, and then all damage is completely negated. And then you have your stance. So if you deflect, but you don't deflect at a perfect time, you take a little bit of stance damage. Once your stance is broken, you're left completely helpless, and whatever attack they're going to throw at you next will hit you. Now, the
Most
problem
likely
with some
tell you.
people is if you don't have the timing down right on the deflects, you're never going to get past some of these bosses because they'll break your stance, and then if you're not timing it right, or you just don't have enough time to put into it, or you're not used to the combat system, you're going to get destroyed by some of these bosses because a lot of them are pretty unrelenting. Now, the mod specifically that the PC Gamer guy installed was a slowdown mod, yes. So it slowed the game's animations by like 30 something percent.
No, he said he ended up because I read the article. He said he got it down to about half of what it was,
and that's still pretty fast because some of these attacks are just. I mean, they do have their. If you play versus a character enough, like these bosses, you'll learn what they do on specific either noises or movements. But if you don't have the time to learn that, especially journalists, I'm assuming that are under a really big pressure to get an article out within 3 or 4 days of actually playing the game, they won't have the time to learn that. Now, everybody seems to have a problem with it because, why should we listen to these journalists if they can't even beat these simple games? Pointing back to the Cuphead incident of the game, was it Games Radar or something? I can't remember. Where the tutorial level where all you had to do is double jump and then press Y over the thing. It was literally a tutorial. It says it right on the screen. It says double jump, press Y on the screen or whatever. And he just, for some reason, spent 10 minutes not being able to get over it because he only double jumped. And he just sat there over and over again, just jumping and missing and jumping and missing. And for like 10 minutes. And people just berated him. Or her, I don't know. But but the difference between somebody beating Sekiro on half speed and somebody that just literally can't jump off a platform is that, you really got to put the time into it. And if people really enjoy the story, they enjoy the music, they enjoy the atmosphere, they enjoy the combat system, but they just really can't get down with it, I don't really blame someone for installing that. So I don't know why everybody's getting so upset about it.
So I don't know if it's for what this is basically kind of going and starting with. I don't know if there's somebody would have to download a mod or somebody would have to tweak the game themselves. Yep. So I think what the point is realistically is that they shouldn't have to tweak it and they shouldn't have to mod it, but rather there should be an easy mode from the get-go to have everybody be part of the the fun and the gameplay and everything else like that. So for the people who don't have the time to get as vested as as you were saying, as you should realistically to actually play the game the way it's meant to be played. So somebody like, let's say, who works regular 9 to 5, they only have a few hours of time to go sit down with the game or whatever else. So they only, let's say, 2 hours a day, right? Minimum.
Yeah.
That's probably not as much time as you would need in order to really get as good as you really should be at the game, I would assume, right? So what do you think about them actually then just implementing an easy system in it then?
That is not something the developers should be focused on, especially FromSoft. They make the game that they want, and if anybody can't play it, that's too bad. If anybody wants to play it but can't, you have these people making mods for it to make it a little bit easier. Even, Dark Souls 1 and 3, they all have these game-breaking mods that let you have no clip, and they let you have infinite health. If people really want to just mess with it to that point, that's fine. I don't play the game the way you want. Because a lot of these games have amazing stories and boss fights and all these things that if it's really going to just push you away at this point, I'd rather somebody play the game with a mod that gives them a little bit extra health or using save scumming or whatever. Just something that makes it a little bit easier for them, or maybe starting at level 5 instead of 1. I don't know. If that's how people can get through it, I'd rather somebody play these games than not, regardless of what it is. But it should not be the developer's responsibility to put an easy mode in, especially because the Hidetaka Miyazaki is the guy who directs them. He beats every single game, whether it's Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne. He will beat, I don't think he worked on 2 actually. He will beat the games, and if he could beat them, he says, okay, that's perfect. If I can beat this game, then anybody can beat this game. So it's really about the kind of time you put into it. Because one of the best feelings about these games is getting through that boss that's been taking you 2 hours. Because you don't typically walk away from a boss going, wow, that boss is cheap, or wow, they didn't that some bosses, but that boss didn't broadcast what he was about to do. You walk away and go, oh, he did that thing. Why did I do that? I'm so stupid. I should have attacked there, or I should have rolled there. That's my fault. And then you go back and you learn from that and you keep going until what happens, you beat the boss and you just get this huge rush of like, wow, I learned, I'm better at this game now. And then you go to the next boss and you do the exact same thing. That's what I like about the game so much.
I like that.
And if you take it and you put an easy mode in, you're going to relieve somebody from that feeling.
Yeah.
Now, that 50% slowdown mod, you can still feel good about yourself for beating somebody, but you're not going to feel as good. Maybe, I don't know. You're not going to feel as good as somebody who beat it the way the game was supposed to be played, or even if they did it in a harder way. But I'd still argue that beating the boss is way better, regardless of if you have mods on or anything. Beating that boss is way better than just ignoring the game in total. I would rather people play it with mods if they really need to.
Well, like for me, I mean, I'm a perfect example of a person that has never really played any of the other games, but because you were talking it up, I was like, you know what, let me give it a shot. I'm just got out of the training mission. I've died probably close to 100 times.
That's normal. It's called Shadows Die Twice. The whole point is to die. That's
exactly. I mean, I'm having fun with the game. Yeah, there was a couple of frustrating points because I could not get past a certain point. I think it was like the first really like mini boss.
The Chained Ogre.
No, I'm not even that far.
Oh, the 7 blades guy that has the pokey stick.
Yeah, or the like is right after you see the prince, whatever.
Your little boy.
Yeah, the little boy. You go and you fight the guys outside, and that you fight that you have to use a combo, and then it's like that guy that has 2 health bars.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't have to. Oh no, you do have to. No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. You have to fight them.
You don't have to fight him.
No, there's another one that I don't have to.
No, the first one you walk up a stairway after just getting your sword. There's a first one there you don't have to fight. Then you keep running. Oh no, never mind. Sorry, you keep running. You go up a stairway. Then there's this wooden door. You don't have to fight that guy. You can walk around him.
Whatever. Anyway, I died like 30 times for trying to fight him because it was like you have to deflect it and press 1 right after.
See,
like,
the easy mode would be skipping that guy. Now, that's the built-in easy mode. They're not forcing you to fight him, even though you might have thought. But you just go a little bit to the right and go straight from there. The easy mode would be not to fight him and come back when you're a higher level. The hard mode, or the regular game mode, whatever you want to call it, would be to die to that guy over and over again until you learn from that boss.
That's what I pretty much did.
Yeah, that's what I did when I did my first playthrough too. I'd be like, wow, this guy's really kicking my ass. It's really hard. I'm going to go back and fight him again. And I learned from that fight and I got better as a player. But if you walk past it, you're going to be forced to learn something anyway with a boss you literally can't pass.
Yeah, and like I mean, I've probably put hours into the game. Like I played it. I had a couple times and I haven't played it since just because personally I don't have the time.
Yeah, it's
I don't have the time to dedicate to learning a game. It doesn't mean that I don't want to learn the game. I do. I really do. I think the game is a lot of fun, even though I am dying and whatnot. But it's something that I'm like right now I cannot put time and time into. Like there are other games that are kind of want to play. There are other things that I could probably, but that's just me personally. Like there's so many games. Like I was super excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I haven't fucking played it. I played maybe an hour.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up and I had it on pre-order.
But it's just like it's one of those things. It's just for me now. It's all about time. I don't have the time that I used to do to play video games. Like at this point, playing the Division, I should be already top level and like being already done with the game. Because when the Division 1 came, I had a bunch of friends that I was able to play with. I got on every night. I played for a couple of hours every night, and I was top tier. Now I don't play as often, and I much rather like the Division 2. I'd much rather play with other people. Like when AJ, when you're on, I'll play with you.
Just awesome. I'm going to be on after this.
I'm probably going to go to sleep because I'm tired.
Oh,
damn you!
Anyway.
Feels bad.
Yeah, right. Right in the feels.
Well, my son woke me up last night. He came into our bed at 1:00, so
damn it, John.
But the thing is it's just like, sir, I'd much rather sit down, play Smash Brothers for like 5-10 minutes, and then go do something else. But it doesn't mean that I'm not. I do like learning Smash Brothers. That's a little different, I get, because it's a fighting game.
So then, not to throw you off your train of thought, but so we know where Eric lies, right? So he basically, just to kind of sum it all up, it's basically for the most part get good or get mods to help out.
It's
right?
not necessarily get good. It's like play the game you want to play, and you get to experience this masterpiece of a game. I'd rather somebody experience this game, regardless of how they play it, than just completely skip it.
Okay, so but you said not to. Okay, so then I am incorrect. I apologize. I took it out of context. So you were just saying that it's not the company's problem to really install it easy.
The company puts out the game they want to. If that's what they deem as fair, which, like I said, the creator of the game will play through it, and if he can beat it, he ships it out. He goes, okay, that fight wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. You technically don't have to do this fight, so that's a little challenge for the people that actually care about it. And he beats it. He goes, okay, this game's good. To send it out.
Okay, so I agree with you because it's their game. They should basically do whatever they want. If you don't like it, don't buy it. So Matt, what do you think then?
I would agree with you guys because I mean, what's the point of giving? Like, you can go back to even like Halo. You want something for the story, doesn't matter if it has an easy mode or not. So long as you can experience the story the first time, who gives a shit? If you want the challenge, obviously you're going to higher difficulty.
Yeah. Difficulty is what you make it. If there is an easy mode, go for it. The problem with this game is that there's no set mode. So if you want the game to be harder, there's 100 ways to make the game harder, and that's up to you or not. That's why I like the game so much.
Yeah,
if you don't level up, the game's mad hard, but they put leveling up in there because that's how you're supposed to play it. If you don't want to play that way, then more power to you, man.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like the same thing with like Legend of Zelda. They have like Breath of the Wild.
3 heart runs,
They have 3 heart runs, or they even have like the new one, which is called the Hero Mode. I think. And what it is basically with the DLC is all of the levels, all of the enemies are double or triple what they used to be.
Yeah.
So it makes it harder. I get that. I totally am cool with that. I mean, I don't think, especially with Sekiro, it's just that's the type of game that doesn't need it. But I like the idea of, hey, listen, you don't want this fight, you can't beat this dude. Maybe you can go around, level up for a little bit, come back, beat this guy's ass, then go back forward.
There were plenty of moments like that where I've hit a boss and I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here yet. I'd go on a different path and I'd hit another boss that's 2 times harder than him. I'm like, wait, hold on. Hold on. But the problem was there's already some cheeses for some of these more difficult bosses where you can just completely blast right through them, even though like there's this one boss, the True Monk. It took me, or Corrupted Monk, I'm sorry. It took me like 3-4 hours to beat. And then I watched one streamer who does like these speed runs and another one that does challenge runs. You can get through the first 2 phases of that boss in 3 seconds by cheesing it. You just do a jump attack and gets through 2 of its phases. And I didn't even know that. And then you watch, there's another boss, there's I don't want to say the name, but because it's cool and I hope you play more of it. But there's this first part that you can completely obliterate just by using this one mechanic. And it's like, I don't know why I didn't think of it, but then you go back and fight them and you're like, wow, I can't believe I spent 4 or 5 hours on this boss. But it felt so good to beat the boss the way it was designed to be beaten on the first playthrough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that was some really good points. I think we we all agree. No easy mode, just play the game, or get some mods, to enjoy it.
Someone made it.
I can't wait to. Yeah.
Gotta love the communities.
Hey, there you go. So there's always somebody out there to help you out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
to just wrap up here, I do want to hit up a couple of funny things that I kind of thought that were really funny. So really quickly, there's a story out there in Florida where some woman decided, because some guy was playing video games. It's not even, I got this from cogconnected.com, all right? And it doesn't even say if they're neighbors or anything else.
It's Florida.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of crazy people. No, I'm sorry, I got this from WTSP.com. My bad. It's like I said, it's Florida. This woman got pissed off because at 1:30 in the morning, this guy was playing video games. So basically made a fuss. She disconnected the router. He said, all right,
Bitch.
fuck it. Then he started playing video games on his cell phone. Dun, dun, dun. So a big fuck you to her. So she got even more pissed off. Went outside with a knife. He overheard her talking to herself. Said, finally, some peace and quiet. The guy asked her, like, what did she say? She said nothing. Then you can hear like the kind of like, metal clang of a knife. He goes out there, checks his car. Sure as hell, 4 slashed tires. So she slashed his fucking tires because he was playing video games. So she got charged with criminal mischief and had a $150 bail.
I'm assuming that they didn't necessarily know each other then, unless he was fed up. If he pressed charges, that would oof.
Right? It's like, maybe it was a neighbor or something like that. Yeah, like
yeah, maybe, or like a tenant.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, because she unplugged the freaking. This is like, I'm just thinking, like, how petty and also much of a bitch do you really have to be? And you gotta slash somebody's tires? Just go down there and just freaking scream at him. Don't destroy his property, ass.
Probably because she doesn't want to deal with screaming at him.
And that.
I mean, obviously both sides got out of hand, but you can't get charged for playing a video game on your phone.
But exactly.
You definitely get charged for stabbing someone's tires, though.
Yeah. Destruction of private property. Oh
yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I just want to talk about, and this is actually probably going to be a talking point here real quick. So we for the people on the podcast here, we Matt, Eric, and I were just talking about how messed up the world just in general is kind of getting with all this craziness that's going on. So Prince Harry apparently wants to ban Fortnite. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Fortnite. I don't think any of us really are. But in my opinion, I don't really think if you're going to be banning a video game because he says that game shouldn't be allowed. Harry told London reporters, and I'm getting this information from AOL.com, right? And it shouldn't be allowed, and it's created and basically he's saying that it's created children to be addicted, and it's really irresponsible, which I agree with. I would say that it's kind of addicting, but one could argue all video games are addicting, right? But I think if you set a dangerous precedent if you're trying to ban one video game, because if you ban one video game, what's going to stop you from banning anything else?
It's Europe. Gives a shit.
Oh, I mean, they don't have any jurisdiction, right? They're just the famous.
They just tried to pass Article 13. Seriously,
they didn't try to.
They did. Whatever. It's Article 13 or Article 17. They're fucking.
Oh, it's 13. Yeah, it's in the UK. It's in Australia too. So
well, Australia always had high censorship.
Yeah, and they're just kind of progressively getting worse.
And their games are like $90 USD, I think, something like that. They're expensive. Oof. They super don't want people playing video games for some reason.
Well,
I mean, but think about how Fortnite, like, I mean, think about like back when I was a kid, I'd say it would probably Pokemon. But it's like this one all-encompassing thing that regardless of who you are, you understand it, and it probably brings more people together than it splits them apart. Right. It's important in a way. And whether or not it's addictive, that's up to the parents or it's up to the...
It's bad parenting, yes.
It's got to be, right? It's got to... I don't want to speak for any parents, but it's got to be more of if people are allowing their kids to play 24/7, that's on the parents. It's obviously a thing that's there. And if you're banning Fortnite, what about the people who are like 25 and 30 that play the game? Like, what about Ninja? What about these people that make money off of it? Like, you can't ban it just because it's bad for kids. Like,
well, the reasoning why he's saying that ban it because it's basically because it's teaching kids to gamble and cheat and lie and what all this other shit. And I could totally agree with that.
They don't have a loot box system, do they?
Well,
I thought they had They just have the V-Bucks.
They have the V-Bucks, but the V-Bucks is basically, hey, listen, I want to this, I want that.
It disassociates the monetary value.
Exactly. You're spending thousands of dollars on a digital skin. Because, I mean, if you think about it, they just implemented... So the game's been out for, what, almost 2 years now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just implemented a button that says, okay, I did not want to buy those V-Bucks.
Oh, for, like, accidental purchases?
Accidental purchases.
Like the App Store when you give the kid, like, your iPad for 5 minutes and he runs up a bill for $500.
Exactly.
Yeah, that happened. It used to happen to a family friend. His kids are a bunch of shitheads.
Yeah, there's got to be like a kids mode or something that I don't say it's the developer's fault for not putting in like a kids mode, especially if they're making cash from it. But
they're doing it on purpose. They
absolutely, yeah.
But it's just like, trust me, I've seen it. Like I've seen that happen where somebody says, like the kid goes and says, "Hey, listen, I didn't do it. It was somebody hacked my account." Well, how did they hack your account when they have mommy or daddy's credit card? Like, seriously.
Sir, you're 34 and it says you have no children, so... No, my kid bought V-Bucks by accident, I swear.
But I mean, my nephew, he is huge in... Like, he plays it on the computer, he used to play it on his Xbox. Used to play it on, and he plays it on his PlayStation 4 now. Like, and I mean, he goes in and he goes up, and there was a thing at one point that he spent like $100 on V-Bucks.
Is that his money, like that he earned, like an allowance?
No,
because that could be a good way to get kids to earn an allowance. Is be like, okay, you want that skin in Fortnite? Do this, and that.
That's what he would do, but he would also... There were times that he or he'd know how to get something, and like he said, "Oh, somebody hacked my account. They spent money on it. This, that, and the other thing." And I'm like, I don't know. That's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell because I mean, especially like on Xbox, because that's when he was doing it. You have to hit yes like 5 or 6 times.
And that's them trying to implement some sort of system, but at the same time not trying to anger the people that are using it correctly.
But it's just like, it's also like, I mean, come on, man. Like, it's one of those things. Whatever.
It shouldn't rely on, Fortnite shouldn't get necessarily banned. Maybe they should implement some sort of rules that a game like Fortnite should follow. Like these countries banning the random box generation things, like in-game loot boxes. That makes sense to me. I get that. It kind of ruins it from a mindset of a child. That's very negative for their development. I get that.
But also in the same respect, I think the reason why Harry is saying because Fortnite is the biggest game out there for now, and who it affects the most is that
not him,
probably 8 to like 16 years old.
Right, so he's just really thinking of more like an addiction.
Yeah, he's saying that Fortnite is like kids play it no matter what they do, they will find a way to play it because you could play it on your Xbox, on your PC, you could play it on your PS4, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on your tablet, you can play it anywhere.
Gives consumers choices.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
What he's saying is he wants to ban it because kids aren't going outside. Kids aren't going to museums. I would
Fortnite
say
museum. There you go, fix that.
I don't know. As a parent, it's scary. I don't want and it's not even a question of that my kid wants to play that game. It's a question of the kids are learning from other kids.
Yeah, it's a culture at this point.
And it's not a cult. It's not a culture. It's a cult. It's pretty dumb.
I think that's a little too far.
I don't think so.
Because think about when you were in school, right? And what was Pokemon a big thing when you were in school?
Yes.
Yeah,
think about how your parents looked at you during Pokemon. They're probably looking just like people are looking at Fortnite right now. It's the same shit. Doesn't matter what it is. It's gonna get replaced by something.
Yes, but in the respect that, okay, back when we were around Pokemon, you actually had to interact with other people.
You interact with other people, right?
Oh, big time. All the time. Doesn't matter if it's on a voice chat. And think about the people talking about the new updates coming out next week at school. It's the same idea. You go to school and they're like, whoa, did you find missing now? Versus, whoa, they're releasing this next patch. You believe that? And you have these friends that you may not have had if Fortnite wasn't a thing.
Yes, but also in the same respect, if you do not have Fortnite, you don't have access to Fortnite, you get shunned.
But you have access everywhere to Fortnite. You just said yourself, it's on Xbox, PS4, PC, mobile. Everybody's got a smartphone.
What I'm saying is if your kid doesn't play it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you ban it in your own household, then they get shunned and then they get bullied and whatnot because they don't play the game that everybody else has.
Yeah, but that's not really a cult mindset, though, dude. It's a trend, and that comes with any generation.
It's literally anything.
Yeah,
doesn't matter if it's Fortnite or not. You could say that about, I don't know, rappers or music producers or any TV show. If you don't listen to it, you're just going to get ousted. That just happens in real life. It doesn't matter.
Especially TV. You think about it like, when you go to work, right? You have you may have a couple of people you don't talk to. Yeah, like they're always like with Game of Thrones. I don't fucking watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right. I talk to like 5-6 people that watch Game of Thrones. I don't watch that shit, but I'm still part of the conversation. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's crazy. I love that show.
Exactly. It'll teach you how to.
That's an adult mindset too.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So you're right on that. So I don't think it's really more of a cult. I think it's just.
I just personally.
We're no longer...
I can't. It's just like the things I've seen and the things that. My kid is never gonna play it.
You know that, like, just based on how he plays games?
What?
That he's not gonna play it? Or are you not gonna let him?
I'm not gonna let him.
Oh, no.
Oh.
It's just, for me,
it might not even be a thing when he starts playing, like,
I understand that it might not be a thing, but it's just, the fact of the matter is, it's just certain things don't need to do it. And I tell this to my nephew, all he can talk about and put into a conversation is shit about Fortnite. Okay, every time I'm over, every time I talk to him, everything is about Fortnite. Now, it's just, it gets annoying after a while. I can honestly say that, yes, I do talk about video games and I play video games kind of for a living.
You maybe sort of relate everything to a movie when we talk about stuff, maybe potentially.
Whatever.
But also, Matt, it also goes into what you're talking about and what you've said many times before. It's all about parenting, right? Yeah. So you don't want your kid to play Fortnite because why?
I don't want it because for my kids, especially, they're old. They don't need to know anything about guns. And I'm a gun advocate.
So you're not going to let them play any game with guns then, not just Fortnite.
What about when they're like 12, 13, 14?
Nope.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a different dynamic then. So just saying singling out Fortnite itself, then saying like violence or guns.
But they do the haha funny dance and your little bunny man.
And the what is it? The fucking string dance or whatever.
The floss.
The floss. I just fucking made myself sound 10 times older than I am.
The freaking Super Bowl had the floss. The what's it called? The freaking New York City and what is it called? New Year's Eve.
Oh floss. Yeah, right. Fucking.
It's a whole it's like a whole thing. And then like think about parades too. I bet the next parade's gonna have like a Fortnite character, like the fish motherfucker or whatever his name was.
Oh, good lord.
Fish Sticks, I think is his name. But here's the other thing. It's It's just like, think about it. I brought this up already, but like, think about it as in a different name. Don't think about Fortnite. Just think about that one thing that was happening at school that you literally related everything to. Like for me, it was got to be like Pokemon. Pokemon was such a big deal in my early day, like maybe 6 to 10, 12. Pokemon was the biggest deal on the planet. I'm sure I was an annoying asshole with Pokemon too. It's just replaced with Fortnite. It's just how it goes.
I remember when you go, because I was in 7th, 8th grade when Pokemon came out.
Mm-hmm. I was like 6.
Yeah.
Make you feel old.
So,
no, we couldn't have been in 7th or 8th grade because Pokemon came out in 96. Dude.
Came out or was popular? There's a difference.
It was popular more around 98.
Yeah, I was 3. So just put that in perspective.
But
oh god, now I'm gonna pull out a couple gray hairs now.
AJ, we were like 9, 10.
Yeah, we weren't in high school though.
No, but I remember what I was saying. 7, 8th grade. That's not high school yet. 9th grade is. What I was saying is like I remember being all about Pokemon, and then the next year we went into high school. And I just remember I was like, I'd still sit there and I'd watch like Pokemon in the animated series. It's a cartoon, whatever. I don't care.
I have a friend that still watches it, and he's 23. So
I still watch it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not something to be ashamed about.
But I'm saying what I'm trying to say is that I remember saying that it was one of my favorite shows because you're in high school, you get ridiculed. Now I was never the popular guy in school. I knew everybody, but I only had a select few of friends.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is now in high school is a completely different beast. The fact of the matter, high school, middle school, shit. Everybody, if you do not have an iPhone, Jordans, or Yeezys,
oh god,
it's like
you sound so old right now.
Well, that's what it
you
is.
Sound so old.
But
I've been out of high school for 7 years now, 6 years.
We've been out since.
Bite your tongue. Shut the fuck up.
When did you guys graduate?
2005.
Never.
15 years.
Yeah, I've been out for 6 years, and that's right around when vaping started.
But the fact of the matter is school now is totally different than it was even back when you went to school.
Even the underlying values of school, you think are that different? I don't think so. It's the same shit.
I think so.
It's the same shit.
No, dude, like
so
the shit that I've heard that my nephew tells me that he had to deal with in where the town I live in that has a really good school district. Like, holy fuck, man. Like, we used to dick around and just not care. Now you cannot, if you do not have a nice phone, you don't come from a good area, your parents are on the PTA, you are shit on. And like,
it sounds identical. What do you mean? If you didn't have nice clothes, you didn't have nice shoes, you were this nerdy kid who like picked his nose. It doesn't matter what happened. You were gonna get ridiculed.
Remember the fucking one kid who freaking dressed up in literally nothing but Tommy Hilfiger? Dude, Eric, I shit you not. This kid would dress up. Sneakers.
That's so cool.
Pants, shirt. No, he's such a tool. Everything, literally, fucking Tommy Hilfiger.
But
and he would make fun of everybody.
I'm just saying it's a status because that's what they do now.
But how is it not the same?
It's not.
You just got to change one name around and it's got to be almost identical. Like, I'm talking about boiling it down. Like, you're boiling it down, it's got to be almost identical.
When we were in high school, okay? When we were in high school, yeah, you didn't like some, you beat them up, right?
I didn't. No one in my, maybe 3 fights happened in my school.
Okay, just saying. I'm just saying, it happened.
Like the 70s, maybe.
But the fact of the matter is now, you don't even have to put somebody in front of you.
No, social media is a whole different beast. I get that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Social media, advertising, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how all this... I get where Prince Harry is going. Like, I really do. I understand why he wants to ban this particular game. I get it. I'm saying it's the whole thing nowadays. It's scary. It's the world we live in. Shit goes weird. People don't take things literal anymore. I can't say, hey, I'm from New York. Hey, guess what? Go fuck yourself. Seriously, you go on the streets. Oh, did you just say, did you call me a he? Did you call me a she? Like, we have to mince words. We have to, like, step on eggshells wherever we go. People get ridiculed for having things.
How many times has that happened to you, though?
Not me personally, but to my family it has.
Because I work with a transgender, or I used to work with a transgender individual, and they don't rub it in anyone's face. And if you make a mistake, you just move on with it. It's fine. It's like, no, not a lot. I'm gonna just assume that a majority of them are probably super, okay with it.
Yeah,
it's really the loud minority. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is, I get where I don't know. I just went off on a tangent. I don't know.
Yeah, you can, and you're the one with experience as being a father, so it makes a lot of sense that you have an input to it.
Yeah, but I mean,
I get. Does that count?
Yeah, of course not.
Fucking Eric. But it's just one of those crazy. I don't know. I would much rather, like, one of our good friends, her is playing Legend of Zelda. So, like, and he's the same age as John. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Breath of the Wild. I was like, that's awesome. But in my household, we don't let our kids play video games because that's just not what we like to do.
And that's 100% your choice, and I agree with that. So I just want to make sure that regardless of what I said in the argument, that your choice is your choice.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, I get where he's going. Fortnite, to me, I think, is one of those things that it's like just violent enough that people are, like, making it more of a big deal than it should be.
Uh-huh.
Like, I think, like, what was it, Modern Warfare 2, when you can be the Russian gangsters.
Oh yeah, no Russian.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, that didn't get as much flack. Or
no, if it came out today, holy shit.
If that came out today, like, people would fucking lose their goddamn minds.
2012, I think.
Yeah.
That was like, it was a different. I wouldn't say it's much of a different time, and it did get some flack. It didn't get as much flack as it would now, especially now that everybody's arguing about gun laws and whatnot. Like, that wasn't such a. I would say it was a big deal, but it wasn't as much as a big deal back then. Like, right now, that's one of the biggest topics, I think, for.
There was
voting.
more people up in arms about Doom than there was, like, the original Doom for the computer, than there were for that game.
Well, that also had the real world aspect of, like, Columbine and stuff.
Yeah,
that's where everybody was like, wait a second, this has a correlation, and people were it was still in its very young infancy. Yeah. So now that people understand it more, you'd assume they were a little bit more educated about it, but they're not. They're just stuck in their old ways. Like, what was it? It was Hillary Clinton was arguing that guns and video game violence and stuff were associated, but then they looked into it. I forget what the study was, but they said there's no correlation. There was a correlation with not violent tendencies, but, like, anger or something. It wasn't violent tendencies, though. It was a different emotion.
Well, there's also so many different studies out there. It depends upon what you would really, what study you would go for. Because there's some studies out there who would, exactly to your point, and then there's other studies out there where one could just arguably say that they're really being more subjective than objective. And those studies kind of lean more that is true. So violence in video games does have a correlation to and that's a lot of unfortunately bad for us nowadays, because now, especially with everyone becoming more and more aware of all the fake BS the media pumps out, what do you trust?
Political correctness.
Exactly. But just to kind of close it out, in my opinion, I would think that it would be bad for him to ban it just in total, right? Because again, I think that sets a dangerous precedence of, well, this is terrible. What are they going to find terrible next in games. Then they're going to completely have skeletons of the games of that would be coming out because this person doesn't like that, this person doesn't like that. Be a better parent. Watch what your kids are playing. If you don't want them to play them, if you don't want them to play the game, don't let them play the game then. You shouldn't have your country dictate what can and cannot be allowed in your household.
Now, just to be fair, he's not the country. He's not making a law on it. He was just exclaiming.
He's like third in line.
Oh, he's lower than third in line. Oh, I'm just saying. I guess in that, but even then, he still doesn't have a dictation on what laws are passed.
No. Of course, but it would definitely set because
But he's a humanitarian.
I don't know what that means.
But he has.
As I throw up air quotes.
I get air quotes. but anyway, so that's thoughts. But I do, guys.
You just
some conversations that we had. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. So yeah, no, I thought that these are actually some really good conversations. I'm gonna kind of duck out on the final thoughts because I think we went a little for longer than. Yeah, we definitely went overboard. We definitely went into some tangents there, but I liked it. What do you guys think?
I enjoyed. I like talking about stupid shit.
I say our next podcast should talk about movies just to piss off Eric.
I watch movies.
Oh.
Well, I mean, Avengers will be coming out after next week, so we can talk about that.
I can't wait.
Yeah. No, it's 2 weeks.
26th.
That's what I said.
After next week is 2 weeks. That
was
me saying it in a super fancy way.
The week after next.
I'll be seeing it, so
I'm watching it the day it comes out. I think at 3. So in the afternoon, the day it comes out.
Yeah, I'll be seeing it that night too.
I'm gonna watch it that Sunday.
I don't know where I'm going. My friend bought tickets, so we'll figure that one out.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. I'm probably going to place over by us, Ronkonkoma.
Ooh,
everybody,
nice.
You heard it here. All4Gamerz meetup at Ronkonkoma on the 26th.
Yeah.
If you see Matt, just say hi, and that's it. Maybe buy him some popcorn.
Well, I still have to see. I have to see Captain Marvel first.
I didn't watch that. I don't think I'm going to.
It was okay. I watched it. I didn't want to watch it at first, but then I saw the trailers. I was like, all right. And this is me saying this because like all the other Marvel movies, I'm like, yeah, no, this looks awesome. I want to watch this. This is great. I went from not wanting to watch it at all because of all the political BS that was surrounded by it to going, all right, I guess I'll watch it. And then I watched it. And I was like, I don't really feel like I wasted my money, but I also really wasn't like excited about it. Like, ask me about any other Marvel movie. I was pumped. This is awesome. Did you see that fighting scene? After this movie, I was like, yeah, no, this is all right. That's good.
We could talk more about it on the next episode.
Yep. Yes. All right. Good point. Well, gamers, thanks again for stopping by. As always, I'm AJ.
Eric.
Matt.
Oh.
He's second. Eric is second.
I'm always last.
Everyone have a good night. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.
Later, guys.